So I see a sum of the parts, bench bat, reliever, arm here, established part-time platoon veteran there. That's kind of the gist that I'm getting from this ball club. As much as I would love to have a middle of the order power bat like Nelson Cruz, I don't know if the Rays would pull that trigger unless they're like really in the driver's seat to where they can say, we can quote unquote go all in as best we can.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every single day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, Ulises, mailbag episode is what we have for the listeners out there. We have a trio of wonderful questions that we will get to, covering a myriad of topics. So this first one, a big question on Rays fans' minds, buy or sell, comes from Brian in Parrish. He says, hi, Locked On Rays team. I'm a huge fan of your show. My 10-year-old and I love listening to your insights and commentary on the Rays. It's a staple in our household. We'll have to forward this email to the bosses, I guess. I've been thinking about the upcoming trade deadline and wanted to get your thoughts. At what point should we consider being sellers? Personally, I feel like we might already be there, unfortunately. If we do decide to be sellers, what moves would you recommend? For me, I'd love to see us get some young pitching talent in return by trading away players like Eflin, Randy, Bilal, Siri, and Jason Adam. What are your thoughts on this? Looking forward to hearing your take.
Well, Brian, thank you so much.
Yes.
For writing to us, for listening to what we put out, for watching. Your son too, shout out. Don't know his name, but he's awesome. So, Kevin, do I like Excel?
You love Excel. You should do a Microsoft Excel sponsorship, advertorial, live read, something to that effect. Get Bill Gates on here and let's run this thing.
I would love to do a deal with Bill Gates. Bill, if you're listening, bro, DM me. We can get something going.
Well, Stu and Bill might run in the same circles, so you might have that opportunity, because it was weeks ago that you had dinner at an unnamed steakhouse in St. Petersburg with the owner of the Rays. So
yes.
I'm just saying, there's your in.
Yeah, and he likes the show. Obviously, he's on. He just made it on the YouTube cover. Brian, I love Excel, and I made a little table. Made a table because I needed to put out my thoughts, buy or sell. I don't think it's a binary situation. I don't think it's like either one or the other. I think if I had to lean, I would go soft sell.
Soft sell. Okay.
By that, I mean no core players are going to be involved in mega deals. There's no going to be like, mega. There's nothing of that. So I made a little table, Kevin. And for you guys that are on YouTube, that are not on YouTube, head on over to YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Help us out a lot against the algorithm, because the algorithm is very finicky.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's quirky.
Yeah, it's a quirky one. So guess what? I'm putting up on the YouTubes right now a little Excel sheet I made. People that will not be traded, people that will be traded, and the reasons why. So let's start on the left side. Will not be traded. Brennan Lau. He will not be traded. Why? There is no other left-handed bat that has that much power. There's just none. So You can't get rid of him. You have an option for next year. It just really doesn't make a lot of sense to trade him. Randy Arozarena and Yandy Diaz, they're in the same bucket. Regression to the mean. They have shown enough in the major league, in their major league careers, for you to think that this is going to continue for the whole season. Mm-hmm. I mean, Randy Arozarena is not a 500 OPS guy. He's just not. And Yandy Diaz is not a 240 hitter either. So you're hoping for regression. So you're gonna keep the big boys in your lineup. You're gonna trust them. Isaac Paredes, the biggest boy. Guess what? You do not deal him. He's a core piece. Jose Siri looked kind of funky in the beginning of the season. Johnny DeLuca comes out hot. Guess what? The competition is wide open still. Nobody has taken his place. He can still mash. He can still track him down. I don't think anybody has made a big splash for him to be just considered to be DFA'd or traded. Let's start with all those names. What do you think?
First off, I think that you did a wonderful job on the Excel graphic here. I agree with you on the will not be traded front. Pretty much across the board. I would wonder if they would cut bait with Siri, but now that DeLuca is struggling mightily, they might have no choice but to hold on to Siri at this juncture. But unless you're able to really, really sell Randy and Yandy picking it back up in their numbers, because part of it too is not everybody's like the Rays where they're uber confident in their abilities, even if they get blowback from the media and fan base, where I feel like there's some opposing teams out there that they don't want to take that hit. So if you trade for Randy Arozarena that, I don't know, at the time of the trade deadline is hitting 210, and for their ownership groups too, that's a tough sell for particular organizations out there. So I'm with you on that front. I think you just wait to see how the season plays out and make a maneuver beyond that. To your point, before you go on to the possibly could be, well, going to your sheet, are you saying all these guys on the right-hand side will be traded, or are there possibilities of being traded?
So, you know what? If I have to grade myself on my wording here, I would knock down a few points. My player review, my Excel review, I would knock a few points because it shouldn't be will be traded. It should be worded something like, I could see them being traded.
Yeah.
I could see these guys being traded. And those names are Zach Eflin, Pete Fairbanks, Jason Adam, Ahmed Rosario, and Aaron Savale. For different reasons, Zach Eflin, he's a durable starter. Those are very, very important pieces for teams that want to go to the playoffs, that are looking to get back into the hunt, and they're kind of close. Zach Eflin would be a fantastic get for any team. Any team that gets Zach Eflin for the last 2 months of a season would be very, very happy. And guess what? There's money attached to this man. He already has a deal for next year. So you already have a fixed, allocation for these resources, 18 mil for next year. You know what he's going to cost, which is huge for teams to know what exactly a player is going to cost. Mm-hmm. So that is very valuable. Pete Fairbanks and Jason Adam, they're both high leverage arms. If you already have a closer, guess what? You slide these guys in the 8th, 7th inning, and now you've made your bullpen even better, just shut down kind of stuff. And Pete Fairbanks has something that Jason Adam does not have, which again, it's what Zach Eflin did. Money attached. He has money attached to him. He's making 3.6 this season. He's going to be making 3.6 the next year. There's a buyout for $1 million. So it's very obtainable. And if there's accolades attached to his name, there's some escalators, but it's nothing that any other team that is not named the Rays or the Oakland Athletics or the Miami Marlins, they wouldn't even sneeze at. Right. And the last two guys, Ahmed Rosario, you just said it on Wednesday's show. He has been incredibly solid as a utility player and hitting over 300, almost an 800 OPS. You can shift him around. The defense is solid enough that you don't have to be too worried about it. It's not Gold Glove caliber by any means, maybe a little below average in the outfield, of course, but solid that the bat plays.
Yeah.
And Aaron Civale, I think it would just be a thing about cutting ties because it's just really not working out right now. And he, again, if a team just needs extra arm, maybe for the bullpen, a bulk guy or a fifth, fourth starter in the rotation, I think Aaron Civale would definitely be that guy. And he still has team control attached to him. So that would be also a benefit for any team that gets him.
I guess you could add on my line of thinking to possibly could be on the trading block Harold Ramirez. At some point, it's going to happen, just like with the G-Man Choi question. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. It is the perfect time to try out something new as basketball is winding down. So make sure to try out esports this month, because for every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. You can choose from games like Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, personal fave of mine, League of Legends, and more. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKDOWNMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. The other thing, too, is Phil Maton. Trade deadline season, if he has a couple decent outings, maybe build around that. But $7 million for a middle reliever is a lot for the Rays. It's not a lot for other organizations out there. And it just seems like each and every year, teams are just trying to hoard as many bullpen arms as they can. We just need one more arm, 2 more arms. Let's go out and take a flyer on somebody, even if he's struggling and, for whatever reason. Not saying you get really anything for him, but you'd essentially be taking the salary off the books. I think the Rays, with the spot that they're in, we've consistently talked about this being a second half team, and assuming the turnarounds of the household names and you get some of the starting pitchers back and maybe a call up here too with Caminero later on in the season, that they're hoping to have some second half momentum. Not saying they're going to be full out buyers, because it usually doesn't work that way with the Rays. It's making minor moves that are under the radar that you hope work. So I go back to 2022, and the Rays were in a similar spot as they are now. I mean, they were slightly above 500. I think it's just about getting into the wild card and seeing what can happen from there. We saw what the Texas Rangers did with a wild card spot. We saw what the Washington Nationals did with a wild card spot. So just getting into the dance. Eric Neander talks about it of, hey, we just want as many bites of the apple as possible to hopefully make a run. But in 2022, the Rays added, among others, Christian Bethancourt, David Peralta, Jose Siri, and Garrett Clevenger. So I see some of the parts, bench bat, reliever, arm here, established part-time platoon veteran there. That's kind of the gist that I'm getting from this ball club. As much as I would love to have a middle-of-the-order power bat like Nelson Cruz, I don't know if the Rays would pull that trigger unless they're like really in the driver's seat to where they can say, we can, quote unquote, go all in as best we can.
What would hurt you if the Mets say, yeah, JD Martinez is available? What would hurt for you that you were like,
Oh, as far as giving up players?
Yes.
Pull up your list there real quick.
Exactly.
And JD Martinez, what's his? I'd have to look up what his contract is as well.
I think it was just a 1 year, but I'm looking for it. Finalize a $12 million 1 year contract. So yeah.
Heck, I would give up Savali and something else, maybe.
And hold up. And look at this. He only gets paid out of the $12 million. He gets paid $2 million this year. Okay. And then $7.5 million in deferred money, payable in 1.5 million installments each January 15th from 2034 to 2038. This is kicking the bucket in the future. So the Rays are, so this is not about money.
Yeah.
This is about like what would you be willing to do? And if they come calling and they go like, JD Martinez, all right, we want this. What would hurt you?
What would hurt me?
Yeah, as a fan.
I mean,
oh, by the way, before you answer, JD Martinez is currently batting .278 with a .331 on base, a .476 slug, 5 home runs in 34 games. He has an .807 OPS, which is a 136 bleeping OPS plus.
That's really tough to say because he has been so good and so consistent over the years, and that is the type of piece that you would need. I don't know. I really wouldn't want to have to give up Pete Fairbanks as of yet. I mean, if you're going out and getting JD Martinez, you're not trading. You're keeping the core group around. It's not like you're adding JD Martinez and getting rid of Yandy Diaz or Randy Rosarena or Brandon Lau. So if we're being realistic, I don't know. Is
you know what? Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I'm. This season has been so like up and down. I'm ready to get rid of everybody almost.
I want to see.
I think Pete Fairbanks would hurt a little bit.
I think Pete Fairbanks would hurt. I think, and I want people to think about what would hurt rather than like, oh yeah, let's give them Taylor Walls and Aaron Savali and for JD Martinez. Like, no, this is not MLB The Show where you can just like bypass automatic traits. Like, no. Make it hurt. Make it hurt, but you get JD Martinez, a guy with a 136 OPS plus.
I would probably, if you're really trying to do something here, I would do you think Jason Adam and Aaron Savali would be enough?
Jason Adam and
Aaron Savali.
I don't think it's enough.
Ooh.
I think you're looking more at like Zach Eflin straight up or Pete Fairbanks straight up.
Okay, I would do that. I would probably do that.
Which one? Both?
I would do Eflin and or it would hurt, but I would do it. Eflin and or Fairbanks. We've seen this often. We need something.
I would do Eflin because we have depth in starter.
Yeah,
in starter rotation. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just never know. I mean, maybe is he going to be able to hold up going forward? He hasn't shown outside of last year with the Rays. There's been some ups and downs with him as far as the health and injury risk for sure. All right, getting to this next question that we have. Thank you, Brian. Made us think. I was waffling. I was waffling on the answer there because it was just tough for me. I don't know.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, it needs to be tough. It needs to be tough. In the comments, I need to see tough decisions, people. Okay, I need to see tough comments that made it hard for you to type, but you're making the right move.
And that's why I was kind of vacillating and waffling. But now that you kind of put it in my brain of Eflin straight up, Fairbanks straight up, for JD Martinez, mind you, we can't be so overly protective of players on the Rays.
2 months of JD Martinez too. And so like, think about it like a Nelson Cruz type trade. You gave up Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
A solid major league starter now. Back then he was just in the minor leagues. So you got to make it hurt like that.
And now, I mean, look,
successful or it can't be, but
you're not going to win games in the playoffs if you don't score. JD Martinez can perform in the playoffs, and you got to start putting some runs up in the board. You can't just get shut out 1-0 in the wild card. So something has to give at some point. You make a move.
You have to score. You have to score in the playoffs. In October, runs matter.
They do for sure.
Browse through the Game Time app, and you have so many options. You've got theater, you've got comedy, you got baseball games, you've got it all. And you know what? That is the great thing about Game Time. You can find whatever you're looking for It's on the app. And you also have priority last minute deals where you can save up to 60% of buying last minute for sports, concerts, whatever you want. It's there in the app. You can save some money. So today, take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. For your first purchase, you get $20 off. It's pretty great. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
So what do we have next? Question from Craig Kurtzman. Besides the Blake Snell trade, which was the worst in Rays history? I guess he's saying could not bring back Travis d'Arnaud. What would be the other worst move in the last 7 years?
Well, Craig, thank you for writing to us and listening to the pod. I think we both agree on the biggest miss.
Yeah.
And I know it cost a total of, let me look it up. I have it right here. $75 million in 4 years. So $15 million for 1 year, $20 million for 3 years. But his name is Charlie Morton.
Yes.
Charlie Morton, I think, could have been the decisive key piece for that 2021 100-win team that just didn't have experienced starters in the playoffs. You saw Shane Baz struggle. You saw Drew Rasmussen struggle. You saw Shane McClanahan, Luis Patino struggle. And Charlie Morton, we saw what he could do in 2019 and in 2020. Just a solid guy. And when you look at his numbers, Kev, from what he's done with the Braves, I mean, if you're on YouTube, you can watch along with us. 185 and 2/3 innings, 172 innings, 163 and a third, and already has 62 innings pitched. That's around Littell type. That's around like Pepio for the Rays. And look at that ERA plus 130. That's 30. Oh my God. It's 94, 121, 104. Like he has been an above average pitcher in summation of these 4 years. So this one I think hurts the most for people that have, hey, what's been the worst trade? Yeah. But again, this isn't a trade. This just wasn't a signing.
Yeah,
they didn't sign him. So I know I changed the question a little bit, but Charlie has been bugging.
Yeah, we could just say worst moves, and I think not making the move to pick up that option for 2021, guaranteeing him $15 million was a big miss. And I understand the dynamics behind it. 2020 was the COVID year. I'm sure finances were a little bit tighter, but they also went out that year and gave, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris Archer $6.5 million, Michael Wacha $3 million, Rich Hill $2.5 million. So that's a lot of money to has-beens or guys that wouldn't be able to put up the caliber of performance that Charlie Morton can and continues to do. With the Braves, he's won a ring now. So it's like he's found the fountain of youth the last 4 years. It's really remarkable, that level of consistency where we can't have 25-year-olds go through a season without having Tommy John. So whatever Charlie Morton is doing is amazing. And plus the postseason pedigree, not just with the Braves now, but he was the, Game 7 ALCS hero for the Rays in 2020. And just having that stable presence, that guy you can lean upon and give him the ball and say, he's got it. He's going to keep us in the ball game or win us a ball game. And also the aesthetics of what he provided in the clubhouse. Not every player is the type of player where your fellow teammates will print and wear shirts that say, what was it, Charlie freaking Morton? Something to that effect. Like, he was beloved in the clubhouse by the organization and by the fan base. And I figure look, we remember and know what the Rays were trying to do. Hey, let's sign 3 or 4 arms that can give us, 60, 70, 80 innings and try to,
mix and match,
outwork, whatever we'd give Charlie Morton. But sometimes the answer is right in front of you. And I think that's what it could have been for the Rays. And again, if it didn't work out, it's a 1 year, $15 million. You don't pick them up that next year after that. I mean,
right,
you're paying Phil Maton $7 million this year. You're paying Manny Margot $7 million at one point. You've paid, you gave a lot of money to Yoshi Satsugo plus his posting fee, and he didn't do anything. Yeah. So, I mean, for a guy like Charlie Morton, I feel like you'd want to reward in that sense.
Yeah, no, it's one that's always stuck out because of how good he was with the Rays in and off the field, and
how good he continued to be and continues to be right now.
Exactly. And I just feel like that 2021 team, man, that could have been a very special team, but the one thing that it needed was starters, experienced starters. I mean, Shane Baz had 3 major league starts before he went and did that. That's a lot to ask. Drew Rasmussen had just been converted to kind of a starter at the end of the season. And here's the ball, kid. I mean, it's just a lot of pressure to young guys to you can do that one time, you can do it 2 times, and then Shane McClanahan entering in the 4th inning of a decisive game 4. Like, it was just, if you had starters, if you had actual veteran leadership, you wouldn't have gone through that. So it has always stuck to me, but I know we changed it a little bit. It wasn't a trade, it was just a move, but I just I think we could talk about that. And I know we had another one, but perhaps we save it for next time.
Yes, we could save it for next time. I am cool with that. I was just thinking and brainstorming. It would have been pretty neat to have Charlie Morton and Nelson Cruz playing together in the playoffs, seeing what kind of damage they could do in a good way. So
in an alternate universe, that happened, and we were all very happy.
Yeah. You have any honorable mention disaster moves for the Rays or trades?
I think Cronenworth is always going to come up. The Hunter Renfroe is always going to come up. That's a couple of Padres ones. Those are the ones that stick to
we mentioned Satsugo. You could make an argument for Travis d'Arnaud not paying him. The Braves paid him, and I think he's been injured at points here and there, but if you look at the Rays' history with finding stability at the catcher position, it is horrid. And when they have a catcher, have an opportunity for somebody, they let them go for one reason or another. Stephen Vogt, Robinson Chirinos,
John Jaso.
John Jaso. Then if we really want to go back in time and saying, hey, in 2008, could have drafted Buster Posey. So
Hall of Famer Buster Posey, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
And now, I would have liked to see d'Arnaud and Morton together in a Rays uniform in 2021. And right now we have a catcher problem. Ben Rortvedt seems to be doing okay, but we have a backup catcher problem, that's for sure.
Well, but still, like it's not like Rortvedt is. I mean, he's kind of come down to earth a little bit, and so again, regression to the mean might be coming soon. The production from the backstop right now, I know Evan Klosky, our buddy, made a few points last week, but enough is enough, man. I mean, you can't. You can spin it and do mental gymnastics as much as you can. And I know we're going to have him on Friday's episode, so we might just bug him about it again.
Right. Yeah. Now, again, I know not to go too on a tangent here with catchers, and I understand catchers are not fleet of foot, but in that Tuesday game against the Marlins, the Tim Anderson way deep in the hole, way long throw, and he still nabbed Alex Jackson by multiple steps. Like, are you really that slow, bud? Or were you pulling a Jonathan Aranda there? Let me know.
It was a plethora of steps.
Yeah. Like that is, I think every other Rays player would be able to leg that out, including Aranda, including Rortvet. Pick the slowest dudes on the team. Heck, Jose Molina might have had a shot of getting there. So
hey, don't go that far.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow. But first, we have to remind you something. Locked On has launched the first ever National Sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with our local experts. Talk to you Friday.